Join me for the grand finale for more Bruce Lee vintage collectibles with Sifu Alex Richter, aka the Kung Fu Genius, along with his sidekick Dre and my Bruce Lee brother Edgar Betancourt, where I will be sharing more original Bruce Lee Jun Fan Gung Fu Institute receipts, Brandon Lee original autographs, more of my vintage Bruce Lee collectibles, Alex Ben Block's new Bruce Lee book just released, and much, much more. If you can get a signature, an original signature on Bruce Lee, that in my eyes is a holy grail. I own 3 of them now. I own a credit card receipt, which was authenticated by Linda Lee.
You showed that one on our first episode.
Yes, which I just got framed.
Share.
I know. I just got that one professionally framed. It looks beautiful with Linda's certificate of authenticity, and I'm about to get this one framed. So this one I got at a shop called Gotta Have It. It was on 57th Street and Park Avenue, very legit collectible shop. And he would always have some 1 or 2 really rare pieces of Bruce. And I went in there one day and he showed me this, and I asked him where it came from. And the reason this is totally square like that, this autograph, you remember in the 60s and 70s, people used to walk around with autograph books. They used to sell an autograph book.
I don't remember much from the 60s and 70s. I was born in the late 70s.
Exactly. So I should have asked me after that one. So they used to carry around, especially in LA, autograph books, because if you bumped into a celebrity, you'd want their autograph, and you used to have this little book. So he told me this came out of an autograph book, because this was the size those autographs were. And Bruce did most of his autograph signing, I believe, when he did the Green Hornet, because they actually used to go on sites and do
road shows.
And you used to see him sitting at a table signing autographs. So this may have been from a road show. It's really hard to authenticate what year the signature was from, but it's beautifully,
it's amazing
handwriting, the Chinese character underneath, and it's just one of my favorites.
It's a little shiny, little glare on there. And this is Zhang Wing-Han, who I've had lunch with in Hong Kong.
There you go.
Yes.
Check that out.
Yeah, check that out.
That's the same thing that every now and then one of those would show up in an auction.
Right.
But not, it comes up every now and then.
Yeah.
You know who it's from. So
right.
If Charles ever sells it, it's going to be from Charles Damiano collection.
I got that in 2000, and I think I paid $1,600 for at the time, which is a good price for an autograph now.
That's a big wow.
Yeah. Wow. So, and then this I got recently, about 2 years ago. So you heard of Andy Kimura, right?
Yes.
Taki Kimura's son.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So he took over Taki Kimura's school when he passed away, and he's continuing on teaching what Taki learned from Bruce during that time period in Seattle. And he came across these receipt books that Taki held in his possession, because he was running the Seattle school for Bruce Lee. And so recently, 2 years ago, he found a receipt book that was from his dad, and there was a couple left in there, and this is one of the receipts.
Wow.
With the stamp from the Seattle school, and that he pulled out of the book.
Wow.
Hector bought one, I bought one, there's a few people that purchased one, and then Andy wrote this letter of authenticity. He said, can you authenticate it? And so he wrote here, Andy Kimura states that this Jun Fan Gung Fu Institute receipt comes from a larger booklet of receipts that were designed by Bruce Lee and used for only 1 season in the Seattle school branch for the students that paid their dues in exchange for the martial training that he was giving.
Wow.
After Sigong, Bruce Lee moved from Seattle to Oakland and then to Los Angeles. These receipts were left to my father by Bruce Lee, and it remained in Bruce Lee's personal folder my father kept for him from 1963 to 1973. Bruce Lee used to experiment with the many designs and styles of the Jun Fan Gung Fu logo, and this is just one of the amazing examples of the artistry Bruce Lee created and put upon paper. He was the catalyst to every design when it came to his martial art. So he says it comes from an original receipt book that was left to my dad, and then he shows, pictures of it, and he signed it Andy Kimura. Wow. So that's kind of I wanted something that, because it looks really new to me, and I had doubts when I first saw it, because how could it be so new from the 60s, when
Bruce closing a book for all those years, right?
So I went to Hector. I go, you're going to buy one? Are you sure? He goes, Charles, I'm telling you, man, it's it's authentic. And then the more I look at it and I see the logo and it's raised, you know, it doesn't look like they went out and printed these.
Right.
And then they put his dad's chop on it. So I'm pretty convinced that it's
his father's chop.
Yeah, his father's chop, the Chinese chop.
I never seen this. But this is amazing.
Yeah, I just got that 2 years ago, and I know half a dozen people that purchased one.
I think he actually made a receipt book.
Yeah.
You know?
It's incredible.
You think Jesse Glover asked for a receipt?
I don't know.
I don't think so. But
I don't need no receipt. I don't carry that shit.
We talked about, he made all the membership cards and he made himself business cards. He really ran his schools like a business.
Incredible,
For back then, it was like crazy. All he printed. And it was so hard to print things back in the 60s.
Yeah,
Where do you go?
Design it
and design it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. And you can do this stuff on Canva.
Yeah,
Back
exactly.
then, you had to know some stuff.
You had to know some stuff and some people.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, you had to know people to design.
But yeah, that's one of my newest acquisitions that I'm really proud on.
You didn't tell me.
Yeah.
That's okay.
That's wild.
Yeah, there was like a handful that he had left,
They go.
and they went quick.
That's it.
And Hector
just
called me
go.
one day and he goes, Charles, you know, there's probably 2 left. You want one? I'll tell, you know, them to hold one for you. And I said, you know what, get me one. And he got me one, and then they were done. And then these are just some Brandon Lee. I'm a big Brandon Lee fan also.
Sure.
And these are Brandon Lee checks that I got from the estate when Brandon passed. They were
From Adrian Marshall.
Linda Lee was selling some of these checks at the time. And this one says Adrian Marshall also, who was the legal lawyer for the family during that time period.
Executor, right?
Yeah, like the executor.
Right.
And Brandon's signatures on the back of those.
Incredible. 1988, 1987.
Yeah, so during the time he was still alive.
Very cool picture of Brandon Lee dressed as the Crow with his signature while I was in Frankfurt last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in one of the museums. And next door to the museum, completely unrelated to Bruce Lee, was an original Darth Vader helmet and the original alien suit in the film museum.
Ooh, I loved aliens.
Yeah, so if you ever go to Frankfurt, go to both those places, you'll get some very, very cool stuff.
Yeah. Wow, very cool, very cool. So what do you have you want to show here?
So I have. Apparently, a couple years ago, they released in 2020.
I love this piece.
They released postage stamps, which, by the way, they just released a Bruce Lee postage stamp here. Correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
You can still pick it up. You got yours, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What is it? It's kind of, what is he doing? What photo is it? Is it like the jump
From
kick?
the Big Boss.
Yeah, it's
Big
that
Boss jump
famous,
kick. The famous
flying
jumping
kick.
side.
But it wasn't an actual photo.
Somebody
did
drew
kind
it.
of like an art.
Oh, I see. Kind of like an artistic rendering of it, right?
Yeah.
And it's the wrong way. Bruce always kicked to the left, and this is made to the right, so people is questioning why did they make it that way. It's not really the one you see in all the photos where he's kicking to the left. So, but it's good, and it was well deserved.
Kind of like the big statue outside of the exhibit in Hong Kong where he's kicking to the left instead of the right.
Yeah, he's using the wrong leg.
The wrong leg. Why do you do that? If you're
I
gonna
mean,
make
like, come on, man!
Come on.
This was a sculpture. You had plenty of time.
get it right.
Sculpture as well. A big
A
sculpture.
big skull. Get it right.
Yeah, so this book, it comes with like a little notebook, these kind of like typical collector stuff. Comes with some postcards. But the main thing is that they released all of these Bruce Lee stamps.
Those are
and
beautiful.
Basically, they have it in here
It's nice,
as
right?
a collection.
Nice.
You can see all this stuff's like...
Yeah, that's a great.
it's a really high
collect
quality
a high
stuff.
quality piece they put out. Where did this come out of now? The
Hong Kong.
The Hong Kong club.
Well, I don't know if it was the Hong Kong Club or like... I mean, I assume they kind of do everything there.
Yeah.
And you can see all the different Bruce Lee
Wow,
stamps
that was a
here.
beautiful piece.
Yeah.
And I love that they put it into clapboard, which I just love.
Yes,
it makes
exactly,
It's so
exactly.
movie-like, and wow.
So
They
I mean,
packaged that really nice.
it's not like pre-death magazines
Yeah,
or whatever, which you're more than welcome to leave here, by the way. But I mean, the KFG's got some stuff, right? All right, so we got a few more things.
Yeah, just a
here.
couple
you
more
did.
things, and these have some stories behind them, and I'm gonna kind of end with these last pieces. So,
Awesome.
you know, when I was 14 and Enter the Dragon just exploded off the screen, I was in high school, and back in '73, I remember seeing it at the Academy of Music on 14th Street, and right after that, this magazine came out, and it was one of the first magazines I bought on the newsstand. It's in mint condition. I never even opened it. It's The Fighting Stars. Came out in August of
Wait,
'73.
you got that when?
right off the newsstand when it came out.
This is October 1973.
Right.
Yeah.
And you had the
Gumption.
say, no, I'm not going to.
I'm not opening this
Were you
one.
a collector then, or you?
Well, I used to collect comics, so I
Okay.
knew how to
You know
preserve
that, okay.
things. So I put it in a really nice Mylar bag.
And you were
with acid
14?
free. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
and I've
God.
had it ever
That's
since.
gotta be tough. Patience
And
at
that-
14.
Because I bought like 2 or 3 copies. So I had one that I read to death, and that it's like, and then I kept 2. I have one on my wall in my basement in my collectible, and this is another one I have. So I have 2 that are in mint, and these go for like $400 or $500 in mint condition, maybe even more. This was never even opened. It's beautiful inside. You have this, right? You have one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then what they did, you know,
Having this
also-
is one thing, but having that.
now this one, it looks
what do you mean?
identical, but there's a story behind this one.
Right.
So this one doesn't have a date on it, and it doesn't have a price on it, whereas this one
Yeah, that's right.
has
It is a little different.
the price and it has a date, right? So this was 75 cents at the time.
Reminds me when you're a kid and they put 2 things side by side and say note the
Yeah.
differences.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
So this
things are not
one
like the
they
other.
gave out as a promo piece in the movie theaters when you saw Enter the Dragon.
Oh.
So that's why there's no price on it. So you bought your ticket and they would hand you this magazine. So this one's even worth more money because not a lot of these were printed.
Wow.
And this also came in a kit, which my friend Roberto Sanchez just bought the entire Enter the Dragon kit in the box that they would send to the movie theater. And in it was this, the banners, the flags. It's like 20 pieces. The standee that you used to put on the counter when you got your popcorn, the movie poster, the black and white, everything. It has like 20 original pieces that the movie house would put out and display to decorate the movie theaters. So this is just one of those pieces
Wow.
that were given out at that time.
So you got these at the same time?
This I got later on.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't get this in the movie theater, but I
That's-
had to get it because when I heard the story behind it, I wanted to have that. You need both issues if you're
Yeah.
collecting.
I would
so-
love to have it, but I don't even know where to look or where even.
Every now and then it comes up on eBay, but
Yeah.
they're a couple
I haven't
$100.
seen them.
Yeah, they very rarely come up. There's not a lot of them put out there,
That's
so.
you know.
And the so
Unique.
I love
That's-
those 2 pieces.
What's crazy is the one you bought looks brand new.
Yeah,
Right.
And that one I bought off the stand in '73 when it came out.
Incredible.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that one I keep in pristine. And these I also kept in pristine condition. This was the first 2 paperbacks that ever were released on Bruce Lee. Now, back in '74, you didn't even see paperbacks. And I just recently interviewed Alex Ben Block, who put this first one out.
Awesome.
Right? And he was on my channel just recently, and I have part 2 coming out next week. And he told me the whole history of how he put this together. And this was called an instant, which I didn't even know, an instant paperback at the time, because he had only like 2 or 3 weeks to put this out. Dell gave him orders. He was working for one of the magazines. He worked for Forbes magazine. He worked for what's the magazine that he worked for? He wrote the article in there. It's skipping my
can't
mind now,
remember.
but I'll remember it. But anyway, so one of his projects was to put out this novel. So he interviewed Linda Lee and everyone to get all the information. And this is, did you ever read this book?
I have it.
Oh, you have
Yeah,
it?
and yes, and I have that version of it too.
Yeah, so this one again, this is in mint condition. I never even opened this one. I have one that I read to death that's not in mint, but I kept this one
I
in
have
mint
detailed
condition.
files.
And,
He has a Holy Grail too.
In fact, look, I also have this one.
oh, yes, yes.
Chilling in plastic. Look, look.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Wonderful.
Let me see what printing this one is.
Yeah, you have to check
Let's
the
see.
printing.
Let's see if it's a first printing. So yeah, first, second, and third. No, this is a 6th printing. So this is
Useless.
This came out numerous times. So this is a first printing. So which carries more weight than the 6th or 7th or 8th, right?
Clearly. God, I just got shown up
See
here.
what printing that one is.
First printing.
First printing.
I got a first
Okay,
printing.
first printing.
All right,
Yes.
very good.
Fantastic.
All right, fantastic.
Wrapped in plastic.
Yeah, and then you got this one first printing, which is great. And this one was written by Linda Lee, and again, I kept these 2 in pristine condition. And these
that
just bring back
The
so
first,
many.
The first version.
Yeah, the first were childhood memories.
Yeah,
of
there was
when-
some stuff that was
There was some
omitted.
stuff in there that was taken out later, right?
Yeah.
It was a little too honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
The first-
these just remind me of my childhood because as a kid, I did book reports on these in school, and so and that's what collecting's all about. It really brings you back to that time period when you
Sure.
were a kid, and I bought this in Barnes and Nobles. I remember like it was yesterday on 18th Street and 5th Avenue in Manhattan, and you see these there, and I always take like 3 or 4 of them and buy them because when you're that fascinated with Bruce Lee back in the day, you buy more than one copy. So when I had Alex Ben Block on my...
you buy more than one
yes,
copy.
I do. So when I had Alex Ben Block on my show the other day, he just came out with a new book called The Adventures of a Young Kung Fu Legend, which really should have read The Adventures of Young Bruce Lee. And, he was asked to change it around by the Lee family in his state before putting this out. So he had to rewrite a lot of it. But if you really want to pick up a great book, it's a great read. It covers Bruce Lee's lifespan from when he was born to when he was 18 and he just goes to America. Talks about all the fights he had on the rooftops, that he got first-hand stories from Robert, who witnessed them with Bruce on the rooftop. So when you read it, I felt like I was there on the rooftop, blow for blow, reading about Bruce having these fights.
Wow.
So Alex did a really good job at capturing those moments when he did the Cha-Cha Championship and he won the Cha-Cha Championship with Robert, when he did the boxing match that we just spoke about. It's all in this book.
Awesome.
So when he first met Yip Man and how he approached him and how, because he wasn't 100% Chinese, how he couldn't study in the school anymore and he had to study with a lot of his, watch along with the senior students. It's all documented in the book.
Very cool.
So it's a really, really great book. If you guys want to pick this up, it's on Amazon. I wanted to give Alex Ben Block a plug for this because he did a great job at writing this book, and it just came out. So
shout out to anyone named Alex who likes Bruce Lee.
There you go.
And if you remember, Dre, one of our very earliest episodes was going over the Alex Ben Block interview with Bruce Lee. He did the telephone
Yes.
interview. We had the...
It's a four-parter.
No, not quite. No, I think the two. The first one we did was the Dan Lee one.
That was the Dan Lee.
And then we did that Alex Ben Block.
All right.
What a great
Alex Ben
interview
Block
that
the
was.
one that we didn't end up finishing. There's still like a minute left to go.
The Alex Ben Block
We
one?
never finished the last minute.
Part 2 coming soon, folks.
There you go.
5 years later.
That interview was like amazing with Alex, and he was in the Hamptons. He told me when he did that he was working for Forbes, and I said, "How did you record that?" And he said, remember those little handhold things you put in your ear and you put it on the phone? And I had a phone, he had to record it from the phone.
Wow.
He didn't have a recorder. That's how you recorded the conversation. So it's a little staticky. And I said, how were you that inquisitive and how did you get his number? Right. How did you find Bruce Lee filming Way of the Dragon in 72 and know to interview him?
Yeah.
And he said that when he worked, it was Esquire magazine. He said, when I worked for Esquire, one of my assignments, they gave me 15 topics, and the 15th topic was Bruce Lee. And the guy was a big martial art fan. And he goes, you could do an article on any one of these topics. And Alex looked at them and he said, I'm going to do Bruce Lee. And he knew nothing about Bruce Lee at the time. So he did all this research. And he realized he did these movies in Hong Kong and he became this big up-and-coming star.
Wow.
And I said, well, how did you get his number? And he said, I knew people at Warner Brothers. I knew Robert Klaus and some of Andre Morgan, and I was friends with them because I worked for Forbes, and I was a journalist, and I was a movie critic, and they gave me his number. And he goes, I just called, and they told him that I was going to be calling them, and he picked up the phone, and he goes, Bruce Lee, this is Alex Ben Block. And Bruce was on a lunch break, he was telling me, and Bruce kept trying to get him off the phone. I'm filming, Alex, I'm on my lunch, I have to go now, but thank you. Can I pick up the article in Esquire? And Alex said, Bruce, just a few more minutes, I just have a few more questions for you, and he kept trying to extend it.
Wow.
And it ended up being like a 23-minute phone conversation, and that was one of the first interviews ever done with Bruce Lee.
And one of the few that we still have.
Besides Pierre Burton.
Pierre
it's amazing.
Burton, we have the Ted Thomas one.
Yes.
And then the Dan Lee one.
Man, I know. Man, to listen to those now,
And how old was he then when he did that?
Well, he's younger than Bruce. He's like in his late 70s now, so he was probably in his 20s, because Bruce was, how old was Bruce when he returned Way of the Dragon? 31 maybe?
31.
So Alex must have been in his mid-20s, and to interview Bruce Lee, and at that time, he was one of the first to do that. So it was a fascinating podcast I just did, and my part 2 is coming out this coming Friday. So make sure to check that one out.
Why do this Friday? Wait 5 years, just like us.
So Charles, man, this has been fascinating.
Oh man, this was fun, man. I'm glad we did this.
Thank you so much for bringing all this stuff here. Thank you so much for leaving it here when you go.
We got another one. We're gonna have to check the bags before we leave. Dre already has some in his coat over there. I see.
You gotta watch out for that guy over there. Awesome, man. Really appreciate
this
it.
was great,
was a
man.
lot of fun, man.
Thank you again for having me on the channel. I was hoping to do this part 2 with you, so we'll do this again, man. And I'm gonna have you over my place next because I want to interview you, and I know you've been doing a lot of things in your trips back and forth to Hong Kong, and I want to get the update on you next time.
Fantastic.
Okay?
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, man, that'll be fun.
Cool. All right, so I'll do a little outro, and then you do the intro. So think of something. All right, peeps, on today's episode of the Kung Fu Genius, we'll be talking to Bruce Lee collector, blah, blah, and then you go, lots of gems, lots of...
All right, peeps. On today's episode of the Kung Fu Genius, the genius will be kicking it with world-renowned,
Yeah, there we go.
world-renowned, yeah.
So I'm doing all the wah, 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 wah.
Good stuff.
All right, go Dre.
Go, Dre.
All right, peeps. On today's episode of the Kung Fu Genius, the genius will be kicking it with world-renowned Bruce Lee collector Charles Damiano.
Collectors.
And
Collectors, plural.
And his trusting sidekick.
the Kato to Charles.
All right.
Hey, Burt Ward.
Burt Ward out here, baby.
No, that's his nickname.
Not
Burt
Ed
Ward.
Ward.
Burt Ward.
Burt Ward.
Yeah, not Burt Ward. Burt Ward.
Edgar Allan Poe.
You're gonna mess them all up.
Stop it.
All right, Dre, let's do it.
Yeah, come on, Dre. You got this.
All right, peeps. On today's episode of the Kung Fu Genius, the genius will be kicking it with world-renowned collectors, world-renowned Bruce Lee collectors, world-renowned.
You almost had that one. It was going good.
We almost got it.
We almost got it.
We're almost there. It's there. It's there.
Almost got it.
We have it. We have it. All right, peeps. On today's episode of the Kung Fu Genius, the genius will be kicking it with world-renowned Bruce Lee collectors, Charles Damiano and Edgar Betancourt. Okay? Lots of gems. Stop it, man! I had it!
You did have it. You had it.
I had to slow it down.
You got it, and you were the one who was the motion.